Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd show with Rusty Byrd and
Kirk Hilliard.
And we're very happy to have a special guest with us tonight. A guy leading the program that I hold so dear to my heart, and a guy I played with. We'll learn a lot more about him tonight. But we have Coach Creighton Incorminias of the Bethel High School football program. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Go ahead. So one of the things we want to do is I want to let people know a lot of stuff I already know. So again, I'll try not to hog the spotlight and talk too much. But I want our audience to know, because this program, this show, we just started it a couple of months ago, and we pride ourselves in not just knowing some of the national, professional, or collegiate things, but we have a lot of pride in where we're from. So the 757, growing up in Hampton, just being sports nuts, I remember not just playing with you, but even the years before, watching you, watching Bethel, watching those great teams, even before you played, Walter Bailey, just loving Hampton and everything about where I grew up. So we want to make sure we profile where we're from. So we've got you, we've got some athletes coming. We're going to have Randy Pearson's sons that play for Oscar Smith on the show. We interviewed some kids up here and guys that I know like you that have played a high level of football. So we've done the 703. I'm going to make sure we give love to the 757. So first start off, can you tell us a little bit about where you're from, how you kind of grew up? I know a lot of this, but before our audience, you went to Bethel, and I'm proud to have had your father coach me. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, grew up in Hampton, went to Bethel, played for Kaz, legendary coach, Dennis Kaz. Was very, very, very fortunate to play for him. Parents, father coached football. As a kid, we grew up on Hampton University. At that time, it was Hampton Institute's campus.
That's right, HI.
Yeah, and he coached there. So, we had been around football all our lives. Even as kids, he's coaching. We went with the team. There's plenty of times we got out of school on Friday, got to Winnebago, and we traveled to wherever they were going. So, been a part of our lives our whole time.
So you actually just said something I didn't know. I didn't know your dad coached at Hampton.
Yeah.
Hampton is. I didn't know that. I knew Charlie Brown had coached there, but I didn't know I'm learning something new. I didn't know your father. I know. And tell us a little bit more about your dad. He played college football, right?
Played college football at St. Augustine's College. That's where our parents met.
Okay.
Yeah, ended up moving. They actually, I was born in Philadelphia. They moved back home, moved back to Hampton, Newport News. That's where my brother was born. My mom was actually pregnant with him, and he started coaching. Started off with King Street, which is now Y.H. Thomas, but back then it was called King Street.
King Street.
He started there. And then was working down at Hampton Institute and joined the staff there with, at that time, was Coach Van Cleve.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Van Cleve left, and they brought in the Coach Lovett, Dr. Walter Lovett.
That's right. That's simple.
Yeah. And he coached under him for quite some time. And then he went back to, as we got older, he went back to Youth League, and that's when he was coaching you and a lot of other guys, and it allowed him to be able to come to our games and to do things. And once we got finished playing, he started coaching high school with Kaz.
Yeah, he joined the Bethel staff. That's right. Yep.
So he did a couple of stints with that and with everything. So.
Did your father coach on the staff with Allen Iverson when they won the state championship?
We all were on that staff.
That's right. You were too. Right. Okay.
Also, my brother, my uncle, Jason Wallace, the Rocky Croon.
Right.
Yeah,
Man.
there was a bunch of us that were on that staff.
That is a group. That is a powerful coaching staff right there, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Yeah, that's right. I remember coming back to see those games.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where'd you play your youth football, coach?
Northampton.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Look, I only
Did
played
you make the
1 year.
weigh-ins? What?
No.
How did you do
No.
that?
No.
How did you make the weigh-ins, bro?
No. Look, I was actually 12 playing juniors, and I could weigh unlimited. I was only able to play 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
After that, at that time, Hampton City Schools still had junior high. Now that tells you how long ago.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
Junior
You played-
high.
Yeah,
sport,
junior
not
high.
middle
Okay.
school, junior high.
Junior
sport.
high. Yeah, we all went to junior high. That's right.
Right.
83,
And I
84 was the
played-
last year.
Yeah, and I played for Coach Oliver, Colin Oliver. His
Coach
son,
O.
Yep, his son is the head coach at North Carolina Central now.
Really?
Yes, yes.
Did Coach O go to Central? What?
I want to say
Something about Central.
there's a connection there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
There's a connection there. But yeah, his son is the head coach there now.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. Thanks.
Full circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
full circle.
Wow.
Yeah. So my 9th grade year was the first year because Hampton City Schools got rid of middle schools or junior high sports.
Mhm.
Yep.
My 9th grade year in junior high, we were allowed to play at the high schools.
Right.
The first year that they allowed that. So we were the actual first group of freshmen that were allowed to play
Okay. Wow.
high football in the city of Hampton.
Did you play JV or varsity as a 9th grade?
JV, Cos was wanting to dress me and play me varsity, but they felt like I needed to stay down. That was an experience year because we had Walter Bailey and Tim Rohr.
Yeah, okay, you played with those. Wow.
Yeah. That was a that was the year that they went to Moeller and played Moeller of
Cincinnati Moeller. Yeah.
Right.
They were a powerhouse.
Right. And held them to 17 points. So, that's what I'm saying. That was an experience.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Oh,
Yeah.
man. So you're a link. I mean, when you go like the 6 degrees of separation, like the way we all are kind of, like I played with you, but then my brother played with such and such, but you played with
Right.
Walter Bailey. And then I have friends like Chris White and that connection,
yeah.
man. That's the thing I love about that Bethel family, man.
And that's the thing that we're trying to get the kids to understand. Like on our staff, because of COVID right now, they're not out there right now, but they're still connected. Bernie West and Clark.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid going to see them play because my uncle was on that 76 team.
That's right. Yeah.
Mr. Morgan. So,
Yeah.
knowing all of those guys because we were kids and he was bringing us, we were going up there to work out. And look, he was taking me up there to help me try to lose weight and do things, had me going to the restroom. So the connection with all of those guys, I mean, you ended up knowing all of them just because our uncle was there and going to games and seeing them. I never forget, and when I got the job in 2019, Booby Clark came to me and says, look, if you see any paperwork come across, my real name is Michael. I said, whose real name? I thought your real name was Booby. That's all I heard.
Right.
Booby Clark on the air. It isn't that.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's all you heard.
Yep.
Like Booby. So
You're like, oh man, Boogie. It's so many guys like Anthony with him. So many guys like that. Rusty Byrd. I'm Hudson Bird, but Rusty Bird on the block or the carry or whatever.
Oh yeah. So
we probably had some battles in like youth football, like your year 85, 84, 85, 83. Great football players. Talk about playing juniors, because you played juniors 7th, 8th. Okay. I'm thinking 85.
My 7th grade year, I played juniors rec football And the interesting thing in Hampton at that time, all of the rec teams were neighborhood teams.
Right.
So, you had Mallory, all the guys who lived in Mallory area, which is play across the street from Aberdeen Road would be considered Mallory. They played at Mallory. Aberdeen played for Aberdeen. Fox Hill played for. So you ended up knowing we're in school with all these guys. You ended up knowing everyone and that you're playing against because you're all in school together.
Yep.
So it made it fun playing against each other because you wanted bragging rights.
That's
fun that, more than anything.
Remember back then, neighborhoods will walk over to their neighborhood and play.
Right.
Like, this is our crew. We're going to find a patch of grass, or we're going to go to the back of the elementary school, and it was this. And then you just grew up doing that. I know. I remember, like, because we went to school together, or we had those neighborhood battles, man. That's what made the Hampton Bethel game or the kick, whatever, special.
Right. Oh yeah. So that was the real interesting thing at that time period because, on Fridays, everybody wore their, rec league jerseys to school.
Yeah.
And, you representing, Northampton, Mallory,
So I played for Eaton before I played for your dad. I played for Eaton.
Yeah. So
I played with a lot of the guys that end up going to Hampton, some Bethel, because Todd Mill kids went to both schools. And Todd Mill kids played at Hampton. Played for Eaton, but we also had Pine Chapel kids at Eaton. And so I knew a lot of those guys that we were going against. Craig Overton, Hurley Miles.
Oh, yeah.
All those guys we played. The Rock played running back. And Ricky Short was our quarterback one year, Mike Alexander. So,
Oh, yeah.
Get to high school, we used to playing each other,
And the real funny thing with the kids today is when, we see a lot of the guys we, played against and this and that. And, we talk about the rivals. The part they don't, that was really kind of hard for them to get is that we're all friends.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We hung out together, we did stuff together, but when it came Friday night and those lights came on, it was about trying to beat them. It was doing whatever we needed to do because you wanted the bragging rights.
That's right.
You beating them. So they didn't realize how close we are. And even older guys, they would ask me, how do you know him? Man, how do you not know him? Just a different,
That's right. Go ahead, Kirk. I told you I was going to take over this interview. Go ahead, Kirk.
So, did you start as a sophomore in Inco?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would have been 82, 83.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're talking Robert Banks.
Right.
Talking
wow.
Hampton, I think won states. That was 82.
No, they won states in 81. They didn't win
81.
it in 82.
They won it 5 out of 10 years in the 80s. So it's got
right. They got knocked out. I want to say it was First Colonial, if
that sounds right.
mistaken. They got upset, I wanted to say, in regional semis.
Right.
That was something that was extremely rare to happen.
Right.
For them to get knocked out. But we played Hampton High that year, my sophomore year, for the district title. Whoever won, see, back then only the district title.
That's right.
We played them at Darling Stadium to a packed house, to where the fire marshal threatened to shut it down because there was no walkway. There was no way for people to move around, and we lost that game 7-0.
Wow.
That night, and that was the first time Hampton and Bethel was played on a Friday night.
Wow! Oh, that was a Friday night game.
That was a Friday night.
Because we played on Saturdays.
We always played on Saturdays.
Yeah.
That year was the first year ever that Hampton Bethel played on a Friday night.
Wow!
Normally, because it was always the last game of the season. It was played Saturday afternoon, and it normally determined who was going to the playoff.
That's right.
District title was always on the line.
It's the de facto standard, as whoever won that game was district champ.
Right.
Yeah.
To playoff. So
Oh, so you make a great point about knowing some of the guys that were ahead of you. And it's like, to this day, like I knew some of the names that played at Hampton, and we're actually friends now. He lives up the way. One is Stan Jones, somebody I looked up to, you know,
Yeah.
and then Sherwood. Now, you
Yeah.
talk about some of the guys being your friends. So some guys were friends with me because I knew them before. I didn't know Sherwood growing up. No, I didn't know him, but I just didn't know. But look, he was that linebacker and I played fullback, and we were like this. We would hit each other, and he was so hard to block. But, you know, years later, we both living up here in Northern Virginia, and we get to be good friends, man, because he works in the school system. I'm a high school referee. Then he plays on my flag football team. And, man, we look now back at how much fun we had. And I said, man, you know, I ain't really like you, bro. But just because he was good, you know, because he was good, because it was hard to block that brother. But I do have some film. In fact, we have where I don't know if I ran him over, but he didn't tackle me. Let's just say that.
Right.
Safety. I ended up running over Keith. Keith Cusses back there. But but I'll tell you, those are just valued in special times. And one thing I want to ask you about is kind of who was maybe a role model or influence in terms of your coaching style. And I want to say this not to give myself any props, but I will tell you this. I want to give your props and Kai's props. I have been a coach now for over 20 years in youth football. I coached track, my kids in soccer. I've coached youth football for a number of years, and proudly we won a championship up here in Northern Virginia, coaching my son. But, you know, in all my years of coaching, I look at my style and I go, you know what? The things I might not have liked that your dad or Coach Kaz did or Coach Morgan, man, that's exactly what I do. You know, but they were pushing me. And that's like, I'm trying to get my message across to these kids. Like, I'm on them, but then I'm hugging, you know, but like, I look back and I tell, I go, like, there were some special men that were influences in my life. Actually, Kevin Brown's father coached me at Eaton. Kevin, who played for Kickerton. But I'm saying, the other person that was a major impact was Coach Elrod, Lonnie Elrod's father, who coached at Mallory. He was my basketball coach. So I just wanted to let you know, man, your father, and I didn't realize at the time, was impacting the way I coach, what's important, what I value. And one of the things I do in coaching is not about wins, losses, but it's about building leaders, character, and making kids just ready for the world. So I just want to tell you, your pops was one of my heroes, man. And I didn't realize at the time, but I just wanted to share that. Can you tell me about some of the people that might have played that role in your life?
Well, you know, of course, my dad, number one, I mean, and we didn't know it as kids. He was having us coach as kids. Even when we're playing at Bethel and we get finished with practice, with a few times that we got finished early,
right.
Go to his practice, and he would have us teaching kids how to do various things, get in the stands, how to snap a football. He just huge. And then being able to coach with him was, you know, just huge. I mean, that was a dream with things with him and the things that he taught and lessons he would give you with things. And it was never about browbeating you and with stuff. He would tell you, these are things you can learn. And you know, that. Then the other one, you know, I've been extremely blessed with people to play. Kaz is huge.
Yeah.
You know, Kaz taught you about the preparation, this and that.
Yeah.
Kaz also did stuff with your mind that you didn't even know that he was doing to you, and knowing how far you could push yourself mentally with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then being able to coach, you know, and see all the things you got to do behind the scenes with stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, huge. And to tell people this to this day, I mean, he's given us the blueprint. Yes. How things should go. And then I was blessed in college. Rest in peace, Bill Stewart. You know, some people like his style of stuff. He reminded me so much of Kaz because mentally You know, he would really challenge you with a lot of mental stuff. As how far you could push yourself with various stuff, very, very huge. When I went to New England, I was blessed again and had Raymond Berry, the legendary Berry. The one thing I took away from him, his demeanor was really laid back. But one thing I took away from him is about being a professional. He was really stressed about being a professional as to how you went about things, how you could about, you know, preparation for you in order to play and being a professional. He says, you know, there's nothing else like it in the world. You're a professional. You need to conduct yourself in a way and manner and get things. And then this is going to really age me. At the fortunate, you know, of going and playing in the World League, I ended up getting hurt before the season started. But which some of those older guys know, it changed his name to NFL Europe. But when it first came out, it was the World. And I played for Mouse Davis, the innovator of the run and shoot. So just right, he taught, and you know, his style of offense and this and that. So I've been very, very blessed as far as just the people I've coached with and people who've coached me, that I've been able to pull things from and to do various things with. So I, you know, it's been a whole melting pot, but the real two people are my dad and Kaz, because Kaz for the length of time, and then of course, you know, my dad. Can't forget my Doug Pereira out at York. I've been with for the longest as coaching, and he's actually the one who influenced me to apply for the Bethel job, because I really wanted to stay out at York. Loved it, but his style is a lot different with things. And one of the things I took for him and still hold to this day is don't overreact to things until you actually see the film and see what's going on. And then later his coaching style, the things he does, not necessarily on the field, but off the field, the leadership part he did, leadership groups, different things. And the other huge thing was, you know, putting your faith in it. It was different things. We did pregame meals. We had chapel before the pregame meal and different things, different people he had brought in. So I've been extremely blessed as the different people who've touched me throughout my life with coaching and with, you know, dealing with kids.
That is great, man. I'm glad to hear all that stuff, because I didn't know some of that. You know, I knew a lot, but I didn't know some of that. I know the people watching and listening to this are really going to enjoy hearing some of those things. Kirk, you got anything specific you want?
Yeah, I want to talk about Chapel Hill, because Chapel Hill has always had a connection to Bethel.
Yeah.
And I know that's a really special place. And you got to play with and against some great players in your time period down in Chapel Hill. Talk a little bit about the ACC back then. Talk about your playing days. You know, you're playing with some great players. You also played at a time when they opened the Dean Dome and the basketball program was doing real well.
Yes.
Talk to everybody about your experience at University of North Carolina.
Awesome place. Hold true and dear to my heart. People can say whatever they want to. There's no other place in the world like Chapel Hill. Just the things that went on. One of the huge influence of going there was it was family. It felt like family. Everything with it was about family. The ACC at that time was a little different than, well, way different than what it is now. Clemson and Maryland.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Bobby Ross at that time was still at Maryland.
And they were good.
Right. And Danny Ford was at Clemson.
Yeah.
You could not sleep on Georgia Tech. My freshman year, people don't realize, we go down to Georgia Tech, you had Pat Swilling.
Oh, yeah.
At Georgia Tech. Yeah. Maryland was loaded. I mean, at that time, extremely loaded.
Yeah.
NFL guys.
Probably.
Clemson, same thing. Michael William Perry, refrigerator that just left, his brother, Michael Dean Perry, was at Clemson at that time.
Did you have to block him?
A couple of times, yes. You're talking about somebody who is quick and fast for a defensive lineman. Unreal. He's the only guy that could line up on your outside shoulder and beat you inside if you didn't handle him right.
Wow.
It was during that time period. I mean, it was really, really a special time, especially in the ACC. It doesn't get a lot of its notoriety that it should have during that time period, but it was truly, truly a special time because it's not as much up and down the coast as it is now. You know, everything now is regional, this and that. So it was, we didn't go as high as Maryland. We didn't go, the furthest south we went was Atlanta. And that was the ACC at that time.
And you know, UNC knew what they were doing by going to the 7th. Well, back then the 804. You know, when Virginia Tech figured it out after Beamer got there. But UNC is
right. That was an interesting time period because people who really don't know at that time period would ask me, well, how come you didn't go to Tech, or how come you didn't go to UVA? And I tell them at that time period, Tech and UVA are not what they were.
Right.
Walt came in and turned around UVA, and he started recruiting the 757.
That's right. Ray Savage, Jason.
Right. And then Frank Beamer goes to Tech, and he starts, and it became a war to where they drew a fence around that area.
They sure did.
Where they weren't getting. And I said, a lot of people don't realize all the talent that was leaving the area and was actually going out of state at that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And for our time period, it was huge. And so that's really
you're right. You're right.
Stuff. Now that Coach Brown is back, thank God, he's back.
Did you play for him?
My senior year was his first year.
Okay.
Senior year was his first year, yes. And now he's recruiting this area. Dre Bly.
Dre Bly, yeah.
Right. And, you know, when Coach Brown was there, his first stint, you know, he got Dre Bly. It's a boatload that he got from this area. Still don't know how he did it. But he got him out of this area from UVA and from Tech and brought them down there. So, you know, very, very important area, especially ties to Carolina, where a lot of people don't really understand, you know, so.
Yeah. Now, tell us a little bit about your time as a coach yourself. Tell us, you know, where you were part of that great Bethel staff, but tell us kind of how you maybe transitioned from your playing career to coaching and where we are now with you.
My dad. My dad. I had come home and I was a little upset that I had gotten let go. And he says, I never forget, he came home and said, come on, you're going with me. And at that time, he was coaching out at Fox Hill, Reckley. He loved Reckley, loved the kids, this and that. Went out there, coached there for a little bit. And then later we went to Buckrow. The very next year, went out to Buckrow. And they hadn't won a game in like 5 years. And we took the city championship that year. This day, I see some of the kids and some of the guys. I was out at a youth league game, and one of the running backs we had, we nicknamed him. His nickname was Dog at the time, but it was something that the kids did. Came up to me, and we were talking about it and about that year and everything. And we only stayed there for 1 year, and then we ended up at Bethel.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Kaz had called my dad and said he wanted to talk because he was saying, he had a special group and, he was going to need some people. And that's how we ended up at Bethel.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then from there, when did you become a head coach in high school? Was your Gloucester first?
I left, we did 3 years at Bethel. I left and went out to Gloucester and coached for 2 years there. In that third year, the head coach left and I got the head job out there for 3 years. Okay. Ended up leaving Gloucester. I came back to Bethel, coached with Tracy Parker for 2 years.
Okay, yeah, I remember. Yep.
Left there, went to Heritage with John Quinlan.
Oh, Coach Q.
Yeah, for 2 years. And then I ended up out at York. And it's real ironic how I ended up out at York. I was, at that time period, was working out at Riverside Wellness Center. And they had a quarterback, Aaron Edwards, and receiver running back, Ben Edwards. They were brothers. Their dad, and he says, look, I need help. I'm tired of my kids having to take them to the ER. We need somebody to coach the line. And I kind of, yeah, okay, all right. So I kind of, he asked me to come there a couple of times. I didn't go. I was just like, I don't know about this. And he told me one day, he said, just come on out there. He says, they just hired a new coach, Coach Pereira. We want you to meet him, this and that. I never didn't know Coach P from anybody. He had been up at Essex. We sat down and talked. He was a Carolina fan, knew everything. This and he said, I remember when you played this and that. And this is ironic now. His dad played for Sue Eason at Hampton High.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. So,
man.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, we're talking and I end up out at York. And we've been friends ever since. People don't seem, they think that we've known each other. You had to know, Coach P prior to him. I says, no, we did. And we laugh about it to this day, how people think that, we knew each other or this and that. And, we still call and text each other. That's the different things that go on. And I ended up out at York. And so when the Bethel job came open, he told me, he says, we need to talk. I said, no, we don't. He says, now, goodness well, that's where you need to be. They need you. I says, so what you're telling me is you're kicking me out. Is that what you said? Oh, you stop doing and stop saying. So I applied. And when I got the job, he says, see, I told you. I said, so I'm going to tell everybody that you fired me. He says, don't. But he was the one who really influenced me and pushed me in that direction because he was just saying he says, that's your calling. That's where you need to be. I've been telling you that all this time and with everything. So and still to this day, we still talk. We still text each other, share ideas with things. That's how I ended up.
That is great. That's a blessing. I'm glad you're there, man. I'm serious. I'm so glad you're there. It makes me feel like home, even with William. Yeah. When he was there, I was home one weekend, and I think it was like the preseason, and William let me come speak to the kids, the players, and it just like that when you feel like it's home. And I know your work ethic. I know, again, the influence that Kaz and your dad had on you. So I know that's being passed down. And I'm not looking at wins or losses. I just know that they're getting the right stuff. They're getting fed the right stuff. So, I think it's great that you're there, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about your current team, and where do you think you guys are going, and how do you think the program is progressing?
Right now we're young, extremely young. We have some talented young guys. We have some talented older guys too. But we got a lot of young kids that really, truly, and honest, are really gifted. Right now, we're kind of, and COVID has really kind of caught us, because in the springtime, we didn't have a JV team. And we had all sorts of things. And
That's right, yeah.
Guys and trying to get them ready. We ended up playing a lot of guys in spring, but we only really had 3 games. So it's kind of, caught us. Feel like it's going in the right direction. A lot of times, especially for me, I'm looking at wins and losses and this and that. So it's more to it than that. Love the way the kids have responded. We do a lot of things about them becoming young men, how to accept responsibility for things, how to go about things, how to become a man of the house. So really like the direction it's going in. Ready for it to translate it to wins and losses, but I know everything isn't about that. That's things we did, because life isn't like that, So with stuff. But we try to do things with them, give them experiences just like we did when we were in school. This past summer, we went down to Carolina for their 7-on-7. Took them for that. We took them up to the University of Pittsburgh for their 7-on-7 tournament. We went to 2 team camps over in Portsmouth.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. And then seeing you for their team camp for 2 days with things. So we try to keep them busy. Try to, as much as possible, give as much exposure as we possibly can. Due to COVID, certain things popped up late. So we were only able to do the Carolina and the Pittsburgh. Next summer, we're planning a little bit more with them. And it's have an understanding who they're competing against. As far as, with them right now, a lot of them think, I'm just competing against Hampton or Beavis Kid for stuff. No, you're competing from this guy that's down in Carolina. You're competing with this guy.
Yeah, man.
You're competing the guy out in West Virginia or Maryland, for things. So that's basically the thing. Same thing, different things got done with us. We've tied back football and track. That was done with us. So, and trying to get them to have an understanding that colleges and people, even companies, they want to see people who can do multi things, not just with stuff.
That track thing, I'm sorry, I just want to say this. The track thing, I just assume that all high school programs, the kids played football and ran track. But I'm amazed when that doesn't happen. I mean, we were blessed to have Coach Kaz as a state champion track and football coach. And again, I didn't know I had to run track. I didn't know I couldn't run track, or you had to throw something, or you had to jump. Right. And that I am amazed when, I've coached track for the last, 10, 12 years. My wife, she ran track in college, and my kids all have run track. But I put them in track to help as a foundation for whatever sport they were doing, whether it was soccer or what. And so I'm amazed at my son's, the high school he went to. Like, I'm like, why aren't these football players running track? And a lot of the programs, like a local school, Hilton High School, you might have heard of them, good tradition of football, but they have never even won one district championship in track, because the football players don't run. The best athletes are not even on the team. So I'm really glad you're doing that, because I know that was a key to a lot of our success.
Oh yeah, and the big thing is we try to explain to them and set the example. If you can't run, you can't play.
Right.
I mean, I don't care what you do or whatever. And then the other thing is, they don't know exactly what they're really truly good at. You know, we had a young man, Isaiah Smith. He's down in Myrtle Beach prep school right now. And the track coach, Coach Gaines, was saying if he put his mind to it, he can get a track scholarship. Mm-hmm. Well, the spring, because it was so short, she had college coaches out there for track and football looking at him. Here, he made it to the state finals. Wow. 400 and the 200. I mean, just unbelievable. And, you know, just really wish for a lot of those guys who graduated in 20 that they had an opportunity to have a full season, because they were a very special group also. So, you know, just trying to have an understanding. Everybody keeps wanting to say you need to specialize in just this one sport, when, you know, they're really looking at guys who are athletes, because you may think you're a running back in high school, but you may be a linebacker in college.
That's right. That's right.
The back. And, you know, one of the kids don't know who he is, but I played with a guy named Torn Dorn came.
Oh, Torn Dorn, yeah.
Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. And his freshman and sophomore year, Torn played running back at Carolina. Mac Brown. Then they switch him to DB. He's a second or third round draft for choice for, you know, the Oakland Raiders.
He played for the Raiders. That's right.
But Torn also was a track guy, so he could run. He could do. So, you know, they don't seem to have an understanding. One great thing is a lot of your major colleges, Ohio State's, Clemson's, Alabama's, you're able to pull up stuff and say, look, Ezekiel Elliott is one of them. I told him, I think Ezekiel Elliott holds a state record or something for the 100 or 200 in high school.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, you know, so it helps. We had it when I start making mention of guys, especially like that I know of that played at Bethel or whatever, you know, kids don't know who that is. You know? And that's just like Todd Kelly. Right. So they were trying to had guys. They were trying to say that we've never had anybody go to the SEC, and I says, no, that's not true. I said Todd Kelly went to
Tennessee,
and I says, but before Todd Kelly, we had I can't think of his name. It just left me just as fast. He went, guy played with my uncle. He went to Kentucky.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right now. And he kill me when he sees me. But he played defensive back at the University of Kentucky. Then I told him, I said, we had somebody who's gone to the Big Ten, you know, the Gale brothers.
Gale brothers.
I said, you had, you remember Marcia Tucker, her older brother went to Illinois. I said, so that's right. When I start making mention of those guys, and they ran track and they did this and that and that and the other, they're looking at me like, who is that? You know.
So, you won't toot your own horn, but I will. When you talk about multi-sport athletes, Kirk, in case you don't remember or know, this brother not only was a great football player, but he was a state champion in track. And the brother could ball. Like, I'll never forget the first time you remember when Kyle would play basketball in the summer after working out? And I saw you play basketball. I was like, yo, not just like, I'm going to post you up. No, could shoot. We didn't have a 3-point line back then, but you would have tore it up. And I remember telling people, I was like before Todd Kelly, who was a 3-sport star, like you were the man, and like you could do it all. And you were light on your feet. You could jump, you could rebound, and just a really, really outstanding athlete. And I want to ask you this, because you know something I thought? When you went to Carolina your freshman year and you lost some weight and bulked up, did anybody ever think you were Michael Jordan? Because I swear, I thought at times,
not going to even start with, let me tell you a story with that. But first, I got to tell you this. I was an all-state wrestler.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Legitimately, my first real agent was Cos, because my senior year, I wanted to play basketball. Greg Sowers, who's the wrestling coach at the time, was like, "Oh, no, that's not going to happen." So Cos brokered a deal between him and Coach Butler to where I could do both. And once it became time for district and regional and state, I had to stop playing basketball.
Right.
So
right.
all through that year, I never practiced wrestling. And
what?
Went to basketball, right? Because we wrestled on Wednesday night and Saturdays back at that time period, because you had dual meets back then.
Right.
Well, Tuesday and Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did basketball. So it was really no time to practice wrestling, but I had wrestled all summer along with doing football conditioning.
So I remember you won that wrestling state championship, man.
Yeah. So my first agent was Cos.
Yep.
He brokered my deal.
Inco, can you touch a little bit on the lay of the land, like in the Peninsula District now, and as well as the whole 757, since you're down there? We're getting deep into the season. Couple things. One, how different is it now? Because it has changed quite a bit. And then two, not necessarily your competition, but Rusty and I are always covering, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the divisions. We're always looking at who's winning and who are the teams to beat and things like that. So, how is the Peninsula different now? Because obviously Hampton, Bethel, that rivalry, and then, some of the programs that were traditionally rich are no longer rich in talent, and things have changed a lot. Talk a little bit about, like, you had a great win this weekend over Kickotan, and then I think Phoebus really played a close one with Hampton. Talk about how the district has changed, and we all know it's totally different, but the lay of the land down there with football.
It's changed tremendously. One of the things that has really happened is the South Side, on the other side of the water, has, I'm not going to even say caught up. They've always had talent. I mean, hands down. They've always. One of the things is, coaches didn't stay there long because they went and moved up into administration to become assistant principals and that sort of thing. Now you have guys who are staying and coaching these guys, 15, 20 years, long. So they're able to leave their footprint in a lot longer with them to establish things. The other thing that has really changed is for our side is the youth league. Or you had neighborhood youth leagues, and normally people who were running were either former players of a particular high school or, Hampton, Bethel, Phoebus, Kickotan, of that sort, this and that. But now it has gotten to spread out. You no longer have so many of the neighborhood teams. You got teams sprouting up everywhere. So the talent is really just dispersed everywhere throughout the city. And then they've made it to where they can pull kids. I've never seen anything like it. And I had to get educated real quick because I went out to Gosman Hope Park where they play youth games. And some of the teams, I had no idea who they were, what area are they pulling from. And, they're telling me, they can really pull from anywhere because you have different types of I shouldn't say AAU. You got different types of
like travel football
leagues, right?
League,
It's no longer just the city of Hampton's
right
rec football. You have, different associations that go on, and they have different rules, and they're able to pull kids from any and everywhere, from Newport News.
Right.
We went in the springtime, and one team had kids from Chesapeake and Suffolk.
Yeah.
So it's very, very different now. And then later, the brand of football from the different sides of the water are different. On the peninsula side, it's still about running the football.
Big Ten, we play like Big Ten football in the peninsula.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the south side is more like Big 12.
Big 12. That's what I was gonna say. They're like the Big 12. Right. That's right. Yep. That's exactly right.
So that's the real true difference with a lot of things. People can say what they want to as far as talent. The area is still rich in talent. I mean, you can go anywhere in this area and find talented kids. I mean, hands down, they're everywhere. The real issue comes into is style of play. And then the other real big thing is kids staying in their zone.
Yeah.
One of the things we laugh about, right now is last year in the spring, Hampton's quarterback was zoned for Bethel, but he goes to Hampton High. The quarterback for Phoebus right now, Art, he's zoned for Bethel. They live in Bethel zone, but he goes to Phoebus. So, here we're playing against Bethel kids. So, that's kind of the real difference. When we were coming up, I could never imagine myself ever playing for Hampton High.
Exactly.
Just the way I grew up, great deal of respect from Coach, love him to death. He always used to joke with me, talking about how good I would look in red. I used to tell him that's not my color palette. And that's just how the city was, divided. You all were friends. You all go, even with Phoebus, we have a guy on our staff, Paul Jackson. We grew up together when we lived down in Hampton, and he played at Phoebus. But we ended up moving into Bethel zone. I ended up at Bethel. He ended up at Phoebus. Still friends to the day, this and that, but never in a million years would I ever thought or even entered my mind to go into a Phoebus, Kickerton, any place but Bethel. That's
right, but Bethel. That's right.
Different, what went on, I'm a Bruin, hands down. And so were the other guys that you played against, They would never think about, you imagine saying, or Linwood Lumpkin.
I was going to say Linwood Lumpkin, that's
Leslie
right.
Bailey, or, all of those guys, no, it wasn't even a thought. And guys who played that field wasn't even entering their mind to transfer, to move, or this and that. So that's one of the things that's really different in this time period. I'm not going to just say it's this time period where, and you see it in college.
Same way up here.
Oh yeah.
Same way up here.
With the transfer portal thing, so it's just the time period. And, people can say it's bad, they can say whatever, but, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Right. You embrace it and you keep moving.
Yeah, I'm here in Prince William County, and Prince William, they I coach youth football the last 10 years, but we still have middle school sports, and but I coached initially where it was the neighborhood. APYFL was our neighborhood, and we would go play. Now we would play other parts. We didn't. They had some leagues that were just in Woodbridge, but then I coached with a league that played in the Fairfax League, but it was still a league of neighborhoods. And then they started to have all of these travel, because those travel ones were unlimited weight, and we were losing all these athletes to those teams because they could recruit, you know, and they're getting kids from Stafford and Alexandria and Fairfax. And now that transition I've seen over the last like 8 years, it's not. So Prince William, one thing I tell you about us also is they have specialty programs in this high schools. And if you want to go in this specialty program, like say it's the IB, or this one has technology, or this one has something, you can apply for that specialty program. And some of the coaches have it down where it's like, look, come here, apply to the specialty program. But so they'll get them in the school, but they start recruiting. And it's not like my son, he's a pretty decent player, and we had success in rec ball. He was recruited by a lot of the private schools coming up, but he wanted to play for his base school. I was on the coaching staff in middle school, and we won that championship after winning youth championship. He wanted to play at his base school, but the base school got depleted by so many other programs taking all of our kids. They didn't win any games, and so it was frustrating. And so finally, you know, my son had been recruited by a lot of the public schools and private schools. So finally this year as a junior, he's now playing at a private school in the WCAC in the Catholic League. So with the math and all those schools.
Right.
And it'll help on his recruiting if he's blessed to have that happen. But but he kind of had to do it because what was left, they couldn't win a game, because the other schools had all that talent.
Well, that's what's happening here in that City of Hampton has academies.
Right.
And, as a incoming freshman, a kid can apply to that academy and get into the school. So here in the last 2 years, I've been to so many youth rec league games you would not check a stick at. Our coaches go.
Yeah.
It's not, if nothing else, to keep what you have.
Yeah.
But that's right. That's where it's really has gotten to with things. And so that's what I say, if you're going to embrace it.
It's just how things are. But you said one thing I found out. I went to my son's, I coached his middle school team. Well, I'm a defensive coordinator. And but I also went to when they had career day in the spring, and I was there representing the State Department, talking about what I do in the budget world and all that. But one of the other people that was there was actually a head coach of a local rival high school. Now, none of the kids who went to this middle school could divide and they'll go to like 2 different high schools just based on the zoning. But there was a coach from a whole nother area of the county, and he was there for career day to say he was coaching, but he was recruiting. And one of the things I used to tell our head coach of my son's team, I was like, look, coach, I know you don't want to recruit other people and you're against it, but I said, you at least got to recruit your own. Like you got to now, you may not want to do it, but you got, and you just said that, you got to at least keep what you're supposed to have. And those relationships, it's going with the rec ball, and you guys don't have the junior high, but it's the local rec and the travel rec. And, and the way this one coach actually has success is he started a rec football program and he's just tunneling them through. Like it's his youth football team. He was a youth coach there. He got the hit, and now his brother runs the youth, and they just cycle them all in. And so,
I have a couple of coaches who do. I know one in particular. You may know who Maxie Bolton, who he does football in the off season and near the end of our season, where he goes and does stuff with stuff. That's one way that we do it. And then I got some coaches who come up from the rec leagues or who know the kids, and we make our stops to practices and to games, and seeing and knowing who the kids are and where they're supposed to be. So it's not about just coaching now. It's about development. It's about a little bit of recruiting, and it's about character and developing that character and different things. So it's becoming more and more into a lot more things than just coaching, but it's the lay of the land now. It's the way things have gone. You turn on the news and you see it. So, That's kind of way things are.
Who do you have up? Who do you have up next, Coach?
We have Woodside.
Woodside.
What's that? Thursday, tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow night.
Okay.
Yep.
If you guys win out, will you make the Division 5 playoffs?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
I
good.
got one last question for you. This might be a highlight for the younger kids. So you played on, or you coached on the staff with Iverson. No basketball. No basketball. What kind of football player would he have been at the collegiate and possibly pro level?
Unreal. The one thing people don't really give him a lot of credit for with football, because they say it's just ice. If they were ever to watch his film and see how explosive he is, they wouldn't say anything else. Then the other thing is how instinctive he was with things. His ability to turn something into nothing is just real. But the other thing about him that people really don't give him a lot of credit for is, people talk about practice and the rant with that, and it was taken all out of context. We had our best games. Now, hear me now, our best games at practice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I believe it.
Just unbelievable, the competitiveness that team and that he had with all of them and the different things was just unreal. Somebody was ever come out, if we had filmed our practices, people would have never believed it. I never forget, we were preparing for someone, and Kaz had pulled Chuck out from quarterback and put in a backup. He said, we need to practice them. So he's, in his mind, pulling them out, trying not to let him take any contact or anything, rest them back. Well, the kids are competitive. They've been talking trash to each other all day, what they're going to do, this and that. So they're kind of going back and forth. Well, turns up, we run a play, and here comes this guy flying from safety. Pow! Hits the running back. Kaz is going ballistic. Who is that? This and that. And here it was Iverson. What is he doing out there? He's not. You're supposed to be.
But you trying to keep him healthy, right?
Right. But all they wanted to do was play, and all they wanted to do was compete. Yep. And that's one thing that people really don't understand about him. His competitive edge is just unreal. It didn't make a difference what it was in. All he wanted to do was compete, and it's infectious. I mean, it really, truly 100% is. And then the other part is people didn't realize what type of person he is. And, people can say whatever they want to. They can look how he dressed, whatever. But that guy right there, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%. The most awesome person you ever meet in your life will give you the shirt off his back.
Yeah.
And especially to kids.
Yep.
I mean, we always joke and laugh about his mom took him and his siblings to Chuck E. Cheese. Now he's in high school, and then she's fussing at him to get out of the ball thing. He in there with other kids playing in the ball bin with stuff, and she's getting upset because she's ready to go, but he's not, because he's having fun with other little kids. I mean, little kids like elementary kids.
Yeah.
How many people do you know that's like that? Especially at his stature in high school, everybody knew who he was, but point blank, and people don't really understand his character. And only thing they see is what they want to see.
Yeah.
But tremendous person.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
That team is, we got a couple of guys on our staff from a very, very special team. And I'd like to just give one quick little shout out to one of the members of that team passed away, Kevin Coulter.
Oh, man.
Rest in peace, Keith. Big Daddy Stovepipe, and he was the anchor of our guys up front. Big Kevin went to Fayetteville State as a freshman as a freshman, made all CIAA.
Whoa. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
His dad is the head track coach, cross country coach at Tab High School.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So just wanted to give that. And that's what I'm saying. We're all connected in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
That's right. That's right.
He's going to be truly missed.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for letting us know that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. We know you got to get back to the coaching grind. Really appreciate it. Just to let you know, and you can tell your kids and everybody down there, Rusty and I are on YouTube, the Kirk and Byrd, BYRD show. And we're also the Kirk and Byrd show on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Google. So if you want to listen to us, just audio, driving, doing your workout on a treadmill, we can all be reached there. We want to wish you luck.
Thank you.
To the playoffs. Thank you for coming on. And Rusty, sounds like maybe a few weeks from now, maybe we could have him pipe in on the playoffs. How things are looking in 4, 5, and 6 down there, and things. I know things are going to shape up in the next 3 weeks. But Coach, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank y'all for having me. Anytime.
Oh yeah, thanks. This has been great. You know, Kirk, I apologize because I'm talking but so much, but when you have a special guy like this on, hey man, I appreciate it. Like I said, the influence your family has had on my life and my brother's life. You know, he has nothing but great things to say about your family. And when even when I went to you guys' game your first year, I think it was 2019, and you were playing Heritage, and I came out and you guys beat Heritage. You know, I was in the stands, man. I was so overjoyed. And I haven't seen you in years. But when I did, you and your brother gave me a hug. We were happy. And I was like, man, that's what it's all about. I cannot, Kirk, for real. Other than 2019, I haven't talked to this man in years. But it's like we ain't missed a beat, you know. And to be honest, back then, I was a little 10th grade. This big Inco, I'm looking up to him. And I'm still a little scared. You know, I'm still remember them days. Remember when Dee Dee Van was the airplane? Yeah. And I had to watch my back, man. Y'all seniors, man, would take us out. But it's so much love now, man. And so when I reached out to Mickey about asking me if you would do this, he was like, oh yeah. So I appreciate it, man. I want all of your athletes to see this, to know, because you're just how great you are, not just as a coach or as a player, but just as a human being. And like I said, you won't brag on yourself, but I'm super proud of you. I still talk about, man, my bookends. Look, I played with Creighton and Incorminias. I played with Todd Kelly on this end, man. Yeah. So, you know, look, I played between both of y'all. One was 2 years old and one was 2 years younger, you know. So yeah, man. And I hope to get down there to a game. It's just my son plays on the private schools plays on Saturdays, so I can't get down there, you know, on Fridays. But you guys go ahead and make the playoffs so I can check you out. But good luck the rest of the year. Anytime you need us to, if you need to promote or do something, let us know, okay?
Surely will. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, man. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
All right.